ॐ वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ श्रीमेधादक्षिणामूर्तिस्वामिने नमः। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ। श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्कपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ Namaste once again, everyone. So,
Hari Om, Namaste.
Namaste. So, we are discussing the 25th sloka 2 weeks ago. I hope all of you have not forgotten what we were discussing. Even if some slight memory loss is there, we will recollect as we proceed. Okay.
To give a start with the slokam of Kalidasa.
Yes. Yeah, we have to do that. Yeah, certainly. Yes. So we will first chant the sloka of the Gita which we were discussing. Okay.
Okay.
Maharshinam Bhruguraham
Maharshinam Bhriguraham
Giramasmekamaksharam
Giramasya Mekakshmatram
Yajnanam Japayajñosmi
Yajnam Tapayajñosmi
Stavaranam Himalayah. So, Bhagavan Krishna continues with the enumeration of his glories. And in this sloka, as we have seen, he says, among the Maharishis, he is Bhrigu, the great Rishi who tested the Trimurtis for their patience. And among the words, he is Ekamaksharam, Om, Omkara. And among the Yajñas, he is Japa Yajña. And towards the end of the last class, I was elaborating on the Japa Yajña prescribed in the Shastras. And what are the advantages of Japa Yajña as compared to all other types of sadhanas. In the Shastra, 3 types of Japa chanting are mentioned. One is called Vaikhari Japa. Vaikhari means loud, audible chanting. Second type of japa is called Upamshu, that is whispered chanting, where the lips move but the sound is not audible to others. And the third type is, of course, Manasika or Manas chanting, silent mental chanting. And each level is considered progressively to be more powerful, with Manasika chanting being the most advanced and effective. And that is why, the brahmacharis and all, or even grahasthas, they are advised that Gayatri Japa chanting should be done mentally. If you do Gayatri Japa mentally, it has the most powerful impact rather. So as such, all of them are effective, but gradation is there. And at the same time, all these japa chanting, they are inexpensive and they are efficacious as other rituals rather. And that is why they say that when a person is a Vaidika who is born to a Vedic culture, he or she must do one sadhana of japam. Even if you do not follow any other greater religious disciplines like upavasa, because many of us will not be able to do upavasa and all that because of health reasons or other rituals like puja, etc. We may not, first of all, we may not have the wherewithal to do all those rituals. And secondly, we may not have time also, rather, in this busy world. Professional constraints could be there, economic reasons could be there. And our Shastra says the minimum sadhana that everybody can practice and should practice is some japa, any name of the Lord, 108 times at any time of the day, while taking bath, while driving, even lying down before going to sleep. Keep your mind occupied with some japa, ashtakshari, shadakshari, some namam. And through this practice, the minimum one can gain is full chadana chatushtaya sampatti by mere sadhana of japa. And that is why they give the definition glorifying japa. Because japa has got two letters, ja and pa. Of course, this is not a shastric definition, this is the laukika definition. Jakaro janma vicheda hai, pakara papanashana hai, janma papa haro yasmat, japa iti uchyate budaihi. So in the two letters, ja and pa, ja indicates janma vicheda hai, the end of the cycle of birth and death. And the next letter pa indicates papanashana hai, the destroyal of all our papas. And janma papa haro yasmat, by which both rebirth and our papam are all removed, nullified. That is called a japa. And since this sadhana will remove all the papams, and through that it will put an end to the cycle of samsara. Japa iti uchyate budaihi. And therefore, japa is a great sadhana. And that is why Krishna says, among all the sadhanas, I am japa yajna. Then next he says Tavaranam Himalaya. So Krishna suddenly from one topic jumps to a totally different topic. Because Krishna, Arjuna has asked him, please tell me your glories. Probably Krishna was not prepared for the full list. Well, he has already in the seventh chapter, indicated or mentioned some of his glories. But now Arjuna wants a full list. So now Krishna is actually narrating his glories based upon whatever thought comes to him. He expresses it, and then that is also his glory. And therefore, there is no thinking required on the part of Krishna. So the next vibhuti he mentions is Tavaranam, among the mountains. I am the Himalaya, the most sacred mountain ranges in the world, wherein Lord Shiva is there, the abode of Parvati's father. And as I was mentioning, somebody has said that the best. Am I actually have it? We have already done this. I'm somehow getting a feeling that we have gone through this.
Actually, we are on
Yes.
10:27, Guruji.
Oh,
27th verse.
okay, okay. Then
Doesn't matter, it's only a repetition now for us.
no,
Revision, rather.
no, I will switch on to the because I think I opened the wrong notes of mine. Today is 219,
Yeah,
219.
219.
that is why. Okay, okay, okay. Correct, 27. I wish somebody had pointed out it earlier.
I had
Anyhow,
observed it but didn't want to do it. It
that-
won't be correct.
that's okay. Anyhow, we have lost 15 minutes.
Never.
It's okay, no problem. We will start from 27th, okay?
Okay.
उच्चैश्रवसमस्वानाम्
उच्चैश्रवश्रमस्वानां
विद्धि
स्वानां
विद्धि माममृतो भवम्
विद्धि माम् अमृतो भवम्
माममृतोद्भवम्
ऐरावतं गजेन्द्राणाम्
ऐरावतं गजेन्द्राणां
चित्राणां
नराणां च नराधिपम्
नराणां च
नराणां
नराधिपम्
नारायणम्
That's why I had some, I was thinking, this all I have already said. Why am I repeating it like that? So, here in this sloka, Lord Krishna says that among the horses, know me to be Uchchaishravas, which emerged during the churning of the milky ocean for nectar, and to be Airavatam among the great elephants, and to be the king, Naradhipa, among human beings. Somebody is not leaving me. In fact, okay, thank God. And as I said in the last class, two stories are prominent in our Puranas. One is the Ganga Avataranam, flowing down or coming down of river Ganga from heaven to earth. And the other prominent story is that of Samudra Mataram story, which I was narrating towards the end of last class. Now I recollect. To recap the story so far, Devas and Asuras planned to churn the Milky Ocean so that they can get Amritam out of it. And by consuming the Amritam, they will get immortality. So, with this plan, they brought the Mantara mountain for churning, and they brought Vasuki snake as the rope. And later, Bhagavan Vishnu had to take the Kurma Avatara to hold the Mantara mountain at the bottom of the ocean while churning to provide it ground support and prevent the mountain from drowning in the Milky Ocean. Of course, initially the Devas and Asuras had differences of opinion, but somehow they managed and started the churning, and varieties of things started appearing. And I was mentioning that 14 virtuous things appeared out of the Milky Ocean at the time of churning. Chaturdasha Ratnani. Ah, yes, Sitaram. Now I am coming to Kalidasa. I also refer to a prayer written by Kalidasa called Mangalashtakam, which is supposed to be chanted in the morning. And in those prayers, he talks about various sacred things to be remembered: sacred rivers, sacred deities. Like that, he enumerates various things, and in one verse, he mentions the 14 Ratnas, the precious things which came out of the Milky Ocean. And the prayer goes like this: Lakshmi Kaustubha Parijata Kusumah Dhanvantaris Chandramah Gava Kama Duga Sureshwara Gaja Rambhadi Devangana Ashwasaptamukhasudha Haridhanuhu Shankho Bisham Chambudehe Ratnaniti Chaturdasha Pratidinam Kurvantu no Mangalam. So there are many stanzas like this in that Mangalashtakam. But in this, he is talking about the 14 gems, the Ratnas, Ratnani, which came out of the Milky Ocean. So, among other things, 14 Ratnas came from the ocean, of which the first one enumerated is Lakshmi. Lakshmi Devi herself came. So, Lakshmi Devi, since she has come from the Milky Ocean, she is the daughter of Samudra Raja. And according to one poet, it seems that Samudra Raja wanted to give Lakshmi Devi in marriage to someone. So he was trying to find a proper son in law. And there were two suitors. Shiva was there, Vishnu was there. And Samudra Raja decided to give Lakshmi only to Vishnu. And the poet says the reason was because Vishnu was very well dressed and Shiva did not even know how to dress properly, bare bodied, wearing some tiger skin with a snake around his neck and all that. His jata, looked as if he has not taken bath for ages. And therefore, the poet is suggesting that if you want a good girl, dress up well. Kim vasana tatra vicharaniyam vasapradhanam khalu yogyataya. He says, dress is very important because it is a measure of yogyata. And he says, what is the proof? Pitambaram vikshya dadau swakanyam digambaram vikshya visham samudra. So the Samudra Raja, when he wants to give his daughter in marriage, he chose Pitambaram, means Vishnu. And when it came to giving the poison which came out of the ocean, he chose Digambaram. Digambaram means what? A person without wearing any dress. Only all the directions are his dress. Space is his dress. That is Shiva. So Vishnu, seeing Vishnu who was wearing Pitambaram silk and yellow garments, lot of ornaments and all, Samudra Raja gave Lakshmi Devi to Vishnu. And when the poison came, he handed it over to a person poorly dressed or almost without any dress. Digambaram. Sky clad, you can say. And therefore he says, any suitor, a bridegroom, would-be bridegroom, should always dress well if you want a wife like Lakshmi Devi. Anyway, these are all some entertaining asides. Okay. So, like the Ganga Avataranam story, this story also has a spiritual significance, a spiritual symbolism. The churning of the ocean is akin to the practice of spiritual sadhanas like meditation, japa, etc. The white milky ocean represents the sattvic mind, which is involved in the spiritual sadhana. And when a person takes to spiritual sadhana, various glories come to him like siddhis. And in the story, the various siddhis are indicated like Lakshmi Devi, Kaustubha Ratna, Airavatam, etc. And if the Devas and Asuras were satisfied with Lakshmi and various precious stones, they would not get Amritam. And therefore, what should a person who is taking to spiritual practice do? When we are in spiritual practice, we will get certain worldly benefits. And many people will be satisfied with those worldly benefits. Really speaking, they are obstacles or distractions. And in fact, generally people value siddhis only. If they want to talk about a Mahan, they will only look at his miraculous powers. In fact, even when it comes to Adi Shankaracharya, if you ask them as to why they considered Shankaracharya as great, they will never talk about his teachings, Vedanta, self knowledge, etc. They will immediately recall, oh, Shankaracharya is great because he made, this golden gooseberry, nellikai, golden nellikai, shower in a poor woman's home when he prayed to Lakshmi Devi through Kanakadara Stotra. That is what they will recall. In fact, that was one of the insignificant, glories of Adi Shankaracharya. Or there is another story of Adi Shankaracharya. In the course of a debate with Ubhaya Bharati, the wife of Mandana Mishra, who herself was a very great scholar, Shankaracharya is said to have used his yogic power of Parakaya Pravesha, entering another's body, to learn Kama Shastra, the art of love, to defeat her. So he had all that siddhis. People will recall only such siddhis and never talk about the Advaita philosophy for which he is known in the spiritual world. So here, Shastra says, do not be enamored by these siddhis, by these materialistic pleasures. So all these ratnas indicate distractions in the form of siddhis. And the devas could succeed only because they were not distracted by these things. They said, we do not want all these things. We are interested only in Amritam. Amritam means what? Moksha hai. So these are the positive obstacles in the form of positive benefits or siddhis. And there is another thing that came out of the Milky Ocean, as I said. What is that? Towards the end, the halahalakyam visham, poison came out. So here the poison represents the various psychological problems that may come to people when they seriously engage themselves in spiritual sadhana. Because when we engage ourselves in the spiritual sadhana, what happens? I take away my mind from worldly problems. And therefore, the mind is relatively free now. And therefore, what happens? Other problems, my subconscious mind, which are buried in my subconscious mind, they become active rather. They all surface. And these problems in subconscious mind we might have acquired in our younger days as children, some 50, 60 years ago or 30 years ago, how our parents treated us, what happened to us in our childhood, what happened in the school, how we were bullied. And not only in this birth, in the previous birth also, because the vasanas also keep on, traveling from birth after birth. So all these problems which are in the subconscious mind, sometimes they surface when the person practices spiritual sadhana or meditation. And in Mandukya Karika, Gaudapada talks about these problems at the time of meditation. In fact, he talks about 4 types of obstacles in meditation. One is called laya, inactivity, a state where the mind becomes dull, inactive, or lapses into a state similar to deep sleep. That is the tamasic state. The second one is vikshepa, distraction or oscillation, mind being restless, agitated, and distracted by desires, external objects, or worldly thoughts. That is the Rajasic state. Then the third one, obstacles he calls kashayam, stagnation or attachment in seed form. This state occurs when the mind is neither in deep sleep nor distracted, but has an underlying unaddressed cause for future distraction. There is the vasanas or subtle attachments. And the fourth obstacle he says is rasavada, attachment to pleasure, happiness, etc. And this is the attachment to the happiness or the so-called bliss that arises during temporary or lower stages of samadhi, that is meditative absorption. You might have heard many people say, oh, I was in meditation. It was so nice, I was full of happiness. No thoughts in my mind. Many people misunderstand that state itself as samadhi. That is not samadhi. It is the beginning stages of samadhi. So when we talk about the problems of the subconscious mind, we are talking about kashayam, means the deeper problems in our subconscious mind which we may not know. And generally, on a day-to-day basis, they do not appear in our mind because the past problems are suppressed because of the present problems. We are busy handling the present problems. So where do we have time to worry about the past? But in meditation, when the present problems are set aside for some people, these internal problems may surface in the form of depression, reasonless fear, anxiety, tension. And the mind often will not know the reason. Involuntarily, they will be crying in meditation. And they will not know the reason why. That subconscious mind is pushing, and tears will be running down their eyes rather. So, what is happening? Because of this surfacing of all these buried problems, the mind is not able to operate well in meditation. One Acharya called state Stabdhi Bhava. Stabdhi Bhava means the mind is stuck. Neither it is able to go forward nor it is able to go backward. And therefore, a spiritual seeker may face these internal problems. And this is more possible, the possibility is more in a Gurukula setup. Because in a Gurukula setup, there is an advantage and there is also a disadvantage. The advantage is that you have nothing else to worry about. Because in the Gurukula, you need not earn money. Everything is provided, food is provided, accommodation is provided, books are provided, teaching is provided, everything is provided to you free. There are no televisions, no newspapers, nothing. So your mind is not distracted to all these televisions, movies, etc. Another advantage. And you cannot meet your new friends because in Gurukulam, the 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 12 years, you spend the same set of people you will be seeing. So there are no major such distractions. And when there are no such distractions, when there are no other worries to be faced, many people face the internal problems surfacing. And this is indicated in the story by hala halakyam visham, poison, coming from our own mind when it is churned through Shastra Vichara. So, in the story, when the poison came out, nobody knew what the remedy was. What to do with this such a potent poison? So suddenly all the people were running helter and skelter. Everybody was frightened, scared. And the only remedy was to pray to Lord Shiva. And of course, Shiva, being the benevolent God, came and swallowed the poison. Of course, we know the rest of the story of Parvati holding his throat, letting the poison settle there. And that is how Shiva got the name Nilakantha. So here the symbolism is when we have got emotional problems getting triggered and I am not able to find the reason behind it, the only solution is what? Surrender to the Lord. Let the Lord absorb those problems. Because if you know the cause, you will know the remedy. But then there are many emotional situations we do not know the cause itself. And therefore, this hala halakyam visham refers to kashayam problem. And if you overcome all these obstacles, it will end in what? Amritam. And here Amritam indicates Atma Jnanam. And that is the symbolism of this Purana story from the spiritual standpoint. So, whenever we look at the Purana stories as sadhakas, we must try to look at what is the underlying message Stories are very, very entertaining at one level. That is for, Manda Adhikaris. To some extent, even Madhyama Adhikaris also, they will fall for all these things. But as a Uttama Adhikaris, as Mumukshus, as Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampanna hai, we must look for the spiritual message behind such stories. Okay, now coming back to the sloka. So, among all the things that came out of the Milky Ocean during the churning, one was Uchchai Shravas, which Krishna points out as one of his glories in this sloka. So, in and through all these stories, the spiritual messages we should not forget that we are studying chapter 10, where Krishna is listing out his divine glories. So, what we have to do, stories are good, messages, spiritual messages are good, but we must always keep the overall scheme of Bhagavad Gita in our mind. So that will ensure that there is a continuity in our mind so far as Gita is concerned. And all these are all aside stories only. And another aspect is only in this 10th chapter we can bring in all such stories. Well, in every other chapter, the topic is so tight. There will be no elbow room for such stories and some fun. Very serious teaching. Anyway, Krishna says, Ashwanam aham uchchai shravas asmi. Among the Ashwas, the horses, I am the uchchai shravas, the special horse, which came out of which also came out of the Milky Ocean. And the very word indicates it is the most famous horse. Shravaha means famed, Kirti. Uchchai Shravas means the horse which is the most famed one. And how did that horse come? Krishna says, Vidhi mam amritam udbhavam. I am that horse which emerged during Amritamathanam. Amritamatana kala udbhavam. So that is one of his glories. Then he says, Airavatanam, Airavatam Gajendranam. Among the elephants, I am Airavatam. And Airavatam is another one which came during Samudra Mathana. So Airavatam is the white elephant. Not white elephant in correct expression should be elephant which has white complexion. Because the word white elephant has got some other connotation. Even though, of course, that also signifies something costly and burdensome with little practical use. So, it is the elephant which is white in complexion of the heavenly world, not the white elephant of the earth. This Airavatam is the divine snow white multi-headed vehicle of the Mount of Devendra, which is supposed to have Chaturdanta, four horns, four tusks. So, Airavatam Gajendrana. Then Naranam cha Naradipam. So he says, among the human beings, I am the king. And that is why in our tradition, or in fact in many traditions, the king is taken as the manifestation of the Lord himself. They look upon the king as the God. And that is why Bhagavan says, I am the king among the human beings. And not only that, the most important duty of a king is he has to support dharma. Just as the Lord is Shashwata Dharma Gopta, the king has also a responsibility to protect the dharma. And therefore, as a protector of dharma, king is taken as the representative of God. And therefore, Krishna says, Narana cha Naradipam. Krishna continues next sloka. Okay, we will chant. Ayudhanamaham vajram.
आयुधानामहं वज्रम्
Ayudhanamaham vajram.
Ayudhanam
आयुधानामहं वज्रम्
Dhenunam kamaduk.
Denu
धेनुनास्मस्मि कामदम्
Prajanaschasmi kandarpah.
Prajanashasmi kandarpaha
प्रजनन्नास्मि
Sarpanamasmi vasukihi.
Sarpanamasmi
खड्गमस्मि
vasuki
Vasukihi.
Vasukihi
वासुकिः
Okay. The Anvaya is Aham Vajram Ayudhanam Asmi Kamaduk Dhenunam Asmi Prajanah Kandarpah Cha Asmi Vasukihi Sarpanam. Aham Vajram. I am Indra's thunderbolt weapon, no? Ayudhanam, among the weapons. Asmi Kamaduk, I am Kamadhenu, Dhenunam, among the cows. Asmi Prajanah Kandarpaha, I am the protective passion. Cha Asmi Vasukihi, and I am Vasuki Sarpanam, among the serpents. So I am Indra's thunderbolt among weapons. I am Kamadhenu among cows. I am the protective passion, and I am Vasuki among the serpents. Ayudhanam, among the weapons. Aham Vajram, Vajrayudam Aham Asmi. So this Vajrayudam is a special weapon of Devendra. And in the Purana, the story is given how this special weapon was taken out of the backbone of Dadichi Maharishi. Dadichi Maharishi had done plenty of tapas, and therefore his very body had become strong because of the tapas that he performed. And therefore, for the special purpose of destroying an asura called Vritrasura, Dadichi Maharishi sacrifices his life, and out of his backbone, Vajrayudam is made. And therefore, it has got the strength born out of Tapashakti. And this story shows that spiritual power or meditative power is much stronger than material power. And that is why, there is another story of how Vishwamitra decided to become Brahma Rishi. There is a saying, Vasishta Mukhena Brahma Rishi. Because if you have to be given the title of a Brahma Rishi, only another Brahma Rishi can give you the title. Vishwamitra was a Kshatriya by birth. And he and Vasishta Rishi got into some dispute. But I don't want to go into the detail, another long story will follow. And therefore, they had a war, as it were. And Vishwamitra was shooting weapons after weapons, and Vasishta kept his Brahmadanda, in front, in which he had invoked all his tapas Shakti. And therefore, all the missiles fired by Vishwamitra just fell in front of that Brahmadanda, they were all diffused. And then only Vishwamitra understood that Kshatriya Balam or material strength is far inferior to mental strength, which is born out of tapas or meditation. Therefore, he says, Nakshatriya Balam Balam, Brahmatejo Balam Balam. Physical and material strength is nothing in front of Brahmatejo Balam. Brahmatejo Balam is tapas Shakti, and that alone is superior. And therefore, Vishwamitra decides to do tapas and gain the inner strength. And that is how Vishwamitra, the Kshatriya Rishi, becomes the Brahma Rishi. And from this also we have another very, very important message. And that is, even if a person is born a Shudra or a Vaishya, Kshatriya, by doing sadhana, he can change the Varna. A Kshatriya can become a Brahmana. Therefore, Brahmanatvam is primarily not by birth. Brahmanatvam is by your character, your sadhana, your lifestyle. So in all these, we have to recall all these messages. Anyway, what I want to say is Vajrayudham is stronger because of the spiritual strength. And therefore Krishna says, I am the Vajrayudham of Indra. Then Denu Nam Asmi Kamadhuk. So among the cows, and that too the milk cows, milk yielding cows, Denuhu. Well, the word Denuhu is a special word in Sanskrit, refers to a cow which gives milk. Otherwise, Gavaha, Gauhu, we will say. Denuhu means a milk yielding cow. And among such cows, I am Kamadhuk. Kamadhuk means Kamadhenuhu. And why Kamadhenuhu? Because other cows can yield only milk, whereas Kamadhenuhu is a unique cow which can yield anything you want. Kamam kamam dogdi iti kamadhuk. All that you have to do is go near the cow and pray. So instead of milk, if you think of mango juice, orange juice, Coca-Cola, coffee, tea, Horlicks, Boost, directly it will come. And not only drinks, all things will also materialize. You want a mansion, go and pray. Mansion, car, everything will come. As they say, except for father and mother, Kamadhenu can produce everything. Everything that we wish for. And incidentally, this Kamadhenu also emerged from the Milky Ocean only. So that is another aspect of this Kamadhenu. And here also, there is a beautiful symbolic presentation. What is that? The mind is Kamadhenu. Human mind and intellect are so powerful that if you fully tap your creative faculties, you can create anything. all the scientific advancements, gadgets, internet, creative arts, all of them are all born out of human intellect. So the human mind has got the potential of a Kamadhenu. And if a human being decides to tap his own intellect complex, he can achieve anything in life. All the 14 lokas he can accomplish. Why lokas? He can even attain moksha. Mokshamapi dogdi. So the mind Kamadhenu will give moksham milk also. Whatever you desire, it will give. And therefore it is called Kamadhuk. Then the next glory Krishna talks about is Prajanaschasmi Kandarpaha. The word Kandarpaha means desire. Manmada, the deity of desire or passion, is called Kandarpaha. And here, desire is seen as the greatest creator of things, the greatest producer of things. In fact, in all our material and spiritual pursuits, desire is the trigger. Even the whole creation is born out of desire of Ishvara. We see in Taittiriya Upanishad, Soka Mayata, he desired, he means Ishvara. And even when we take karma phala, punya papa, etc., they are all born out of desires only.
Brother, good evening. கூப்பிடுறேன் கிளாஸ்ல இருக்கு.
Mute, please. We desire something and then engage in activity to fulfill the desire. If it is dharmic action, we get punya. If it is adharmic action to fulfill the desire, we will get papam. Therefore, desire is the greatest creator, and that is why we say necessity is the mother of all creativity, the mother of all inventions, and necessity expresses in the form of desire. Fan and AC, etc., were created because of the human desire to make the heat bearable. When fan was created, it was felt that that was not sufficient. So a desire rose for cooler, some gadgets which can give not only, the fan was giving only circulating the hot air. So AC was created. Then the human being realized that power goes away at crucial times. So generator was created. One thing after the other. No? All creations happen because of what? Desire, kandarpaha. So he is Asmi Prajanaha Kandarpaha. Prajanaha means creators. Among the creators, I am the productive desire, productive passion, which is the cause of everything, including desire for children. So the cause for procreation also is desire only. So Krishna says the greatest creator is desire, and that desire I am. Then he says, Sarpanam asmi vasukihi. Among the serpents, especially the poisonous serpents, I am Vasukihi, which is the ornament for Lord Shiva. And Vasuki snake symbolizes Ahankara. So Ahankara is the greatest poison which leads to Kartritvam and Karma Phala and Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Samsara. And Lord Shiva uses the poisonous snake as an ornament because he knows how to handle the snakes. So if you know how to handle your ahankara, it is an ornament. So by Atma Jnanam, we learn to handle our own ahankara. And therefore, for a jnani, ahamkara becomes a bhushanam, an ornament. Just as a poisonous snake is an ornament for Lord Shiva. The poisonous ahankara is an ornament for a jnani. And therefore, Vasukihi aham sarpana. And earlier we saw in Samudra Mathanam story how Vasuki played the role of the rope churning the ocean. And in the end, poison came out and Shiva swallowed the poison. There again, we can see this spiritual symbolism. After everything material has come out of the ocean, in the end, poison came. That indicates that accumulation of more and more and more material things will eventually lead to ahankara, which is a poison. And that poison has got the potential to destroy us spiritually. And therefore, like Lord Shiva swallowing the poison, we should also swallow our ahamkara if we want to partake of Amritam Moksha. And as I said, every aspect of these Purana stories contain some profound messages from Vedanta perspective. And at the same time, they are sources for entertainment for majority of the common people. So 1 more minute is left. We will just go to the next sloka and then continue in the next one. We just chant the next sloka. Okay. All ready?
Yes.
Anantaschasmi naganam.
Anantas.
Ananta tasmat
No.
manam.
Anantaha
Anantaha.
Anantaha
Anantaha
cha asmi
Cha asmi.
cha asmi
naganam
Nagana.
Nagana
naganam
varunaha
Varunaha.
varunaha
yadasam
Yadasam.
yadasam
aham
Aham.
Aham
pitrunam
Pitrinam.
Pitranam
aryama chasmi
Aryama
Aryama
chasmi.
Chasmi
yamaha
Yamaha.
Yamaha
sanyamatam
Sanyamatam.
Sayamatam
yamatam
aham.
Aham.
Aham
aham.
We will see the Anmaya and the discussion in the next class. Okay. I'll stop here with the prayers. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi
Harihi
Om.
Om.
Thank you all very much. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Please get well soon. Namaskaram,
Please
Guruji.
take
I
care.
will get well from one problem and I hope another does not surface.
No, it will not.
Yes. Pray for you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Thank you Guruji.
Hari Om. Namaskaram.
Take care Guruji.
Namaste.
Okay.
Namaste, everybody. Any questions are there?
Take it easy today.
Take it easy today. Okay.
All
We'll
the
meet
best.
next week. On Monday we will meet. Okay.
Yes.
That is
Thank you Guruji.
Kundaka students. Hari Om.
Pray.